Hey, it's Ken again here from Ken's Small Church Tech, and today I'm going to talk about the audio portions of the FoMaKo KC800 Video Switcher slash PTZ controller. And I've talked before about this a little bit in the intro, or excuse me, in my initial video for this, but I'd like to cover it in a little bit more detail because there's a lot of things that can happen here with audio, and I want to share with you some of those inputs and outputs and odd things that are happening. But this is the FoMaKo KC800. I'm going to be looking at the audio inputs back here, some of the controls here, the channel controls, turning them on, mic 1 and mic 2. We got 4 channels that equate to the HDMI inputs. We got a mic 1, mic 2, and then we have some menu items that we'll bring up that will help us use those audio inputs. So one of the first things I want to do is show you where that we're getting audio from right now. And that is coming from my small audio mixer, very similar to what a church might have, probably a little bit larger one than this. We have a larger one, about twice the size for our small church. But the bottom line is I have a microphone attached to this through mic 1. It's using phantom power here. It happens to be this mic right here. You can see it's just a large mic working off the XLR input. Now that is coming through and being mixed, and if it's being mixed for the whole church, what you're going to be actually seeing, or what you're going to be actually doing, is the main outs will be going to the speakers in the church. What I have coming from here in the control out, or the phones out, I'm using the phones out because it works better at church. Here I can use control out. Either one for this particular mixer is controlled by the phone's microphone or phone's volume control, totally separate from the main out. So the main out won't be bothered by it if I adjust the volume to come over here into our video switcher here. So it's coming through the control out. It's coming into, come back to here, it's coming into the number 2 TRS input location down here. So it's a 3.5 millimeter or 1/8 inch TRS input. That is coming into the aux 2 side of this. Aux 2 includes that input, which is either a line in like it is now or a mic in, and then the XLR in also for the mic 2. So we can go any of those 3 ways we can bring in audio. Mic 1 is an XLR also, so has the same type of a 1/8 inch input, and this one happens to be plugged into my wireless receiver here, because I'm going to show you a little bit different way of, or what the sound like difference here. And then on top of that is my headphones out, and I just have a pretty simple in-ear monitor, wireless in-ear monitor coming out of there, so I'm not attached to it in any way directly. So I just use that, and I can hear the monitor going on in my head. So that's the audio that we're using, or that I'm using right at the moment. Now, the next way that I can do this is, again, using the big microphone. I can plug the XLR output from the, or the XLR cable for that microphone directly into the FoMaKo KC800, and I'm going to do that right now. There you go. I had to switch over to mic 1 because that's where I have it plugged in at the moment for, I'm going to show you something a little bit in a minute, but I got it plugged into the mic 1 XLR. Because this requires phantom power for this microphone to work, I had to turn on the 48 volt phantom power by simply holding it down till it turns red. To turn it off, you do the same thing. Just hold it down till the red light disappears. But 48 volt phantom power allows me to use this mic directly. I don't need to have it run through a different piece of equipment in order to use that. It's a great way to do things. That's an external microphone. Now, what I would have here would be the red line would still be running from my church's audio mixer directly into mic 2, and I'd have that going. I could then have additional mics or additional mic coming from someplace that has nothing to do with the church. It won't go over the loudspeaker or the speakers within the church. It'll just simply be recorded and or streamed through the mixer here, through the switcher here. So that works really nice. Now the other cool thing about this, that's coming in on aux 1, and like I said, aux 1 has a wireless hookup also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to engage my lapel mic and have that coming in now through that same aux channel. So that's still coming through mic 1. I now have two inputs coming through mic 1. The XLR microphone in front of me and the small microphone that I've got coming out my lapel mic using the wireless input on the TRS input. Sometimes that'll work, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to check this out after I'm done, but it may be a little bit confusing, but I could have two inputs that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the microphone simply by turning off the 48 volt phantom power. Okay, you heard the little click. The phantom power went off. I still have input because I'm still talking through the lapel mic now, and I'm not hearing all of that extra kind of echo going through the system. So now everything I'm doing is coming through this microphone here. So what I was trying to demonstrate is you can have two inputs on that one aux input or that one mic input working simultaneously. You can have two on mic 2 or aux 2 working simultaneously. And then so you could have four analog inputs and then four digital inputs coming in through HDMI. All right, so how does that work? Well, if you notice on the side over here, that's showing my overall volume for the program out, for the recording out. I can adjust that with the dial here. While that's going on, you can also see that in input 1, which is a camcorder right in front of me, and input 4, which is a camera right above here, right up here, those two inputs have microphones on them. Those two microphones I had to shut off, so you can see that they are all off here. Now if I wanted to bring that in, I can press audio follows video if I want to, and what that'll do is anything with our video that has audio, you'll see it lit up. I'm going to turn that off. We don't need to have those on. The other thing this button up here does, this allows me to monitor the audio of something else while it's recording the primary program out, and it won't interfere. But I can be prepared by maybe having something queued up on a video or on some other type of audio coming in through one of those channels. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hold this down, long press it, and it comes up blue. And you can see all the audio channels also come up blue, so I can hear what's going on. It also brings up some of the BK inputs, because they could also bring in some audio, I believe. So as I look at this, I'm going to now monitor my input on HDMI 1, so channel 1. So as I'm now talking, I can hear myself coming through that other one while you are not hearing that extra sound, because it's now in a monitor only available to the headset out, and that's what I'm hearing through my in-ear monitor. So I'm going to turn that off for a moment. Oh, got to turn that off up there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up so that you can hear it also. So now I'm just going to be, it's not on monitor. I'm going to add this to the mix, and now you can hear there's a sound coming through the coming through my camcorder microphone, and it's probably pretty loud. And then there's what I'm doing or talking about, and so there's kind of an echo here because they may or may not be exactly synced, and they probably aren't, but they're pretty close. So I'm going to turn that off just so that kind of get that annoying sound out of the way. So that's the inputs that we have here: 4 analog, 4 digital, and you can mix all 8 if you really want to get crazy and want to bring in a bunch of stuff. But mix and match, and you can use the ones that you want. Now, one of the other things that's pretty cool is, for instance, this particular PTZ camera here on 2 right here, coming from across the room. That particular camera and most of the PTZ cameras have an audio input from, go back to here. They have an audio input in the back of there. Now, they do not have microphones built into them. I haven't seen a PTZ camera with a microphone actually built into it unless it's specifically for a conference room. So these PTZ cameras are not necessarily designed for a conference room, even though it would work there. So they just don't have that kind of hardware built into them. It keeps them a little bit less expensive. What I have done is I've run microphones directly into the back of there from across the room. That microphone might be on the other side of the church. It might be another microphone if I have somebody that's on the other side, but I don't have any other microphone cables running over there. I can attach it to there and bring the audio in through that camera, through that HDMI input, and then use that channel to bring it in. I'm going to talk about why that may or may not work in just a little bit. So that's all of my audio inputs, and now let's look at a little bit from the output side and also from the with the menu. So I'm going to bring up the menu here, and you can see it comes up on the right hand side, so it kind of gets in the way of the program out. All right. So right here you can see that I got the inputs, and I'm going to come down here to my little sound indicator here, and then you can see all the channels. So here you can see all the channels. So channel 1 through 4 you can see are off. I got aux 1 is on, that's because that's what I'm talking to you on, and then aux 2 is off also. So you can select those on and off right here. If I go back, volume and delay, I can set the input volume. Whatever I want to have it for each of the individual inputs, so I can input one higher volume than the other. I can do output volume, which is controlled by the knob, but also can be controlled here. If I just go like that, I can control it with this knob also. Monitoring, that's the monitoring that I was talking about, that I can listen to something while it doesn't bother the output. And then I got aux, and what this aux TRS plus XLR, this is your delay. So this allows you to put an actual delay in the audio. Audio tends to move faster through all of this electronic stuff than the video does because there's more to the video. So the audio moving faster gets there sooner, so you can put a delay on it if there's a synchronization problem between the audio coming through the 2 microphone or the 2 auxiliary inputs versus the video coming through the video inputs. Sometimes there's a little bit of synchronization problem. Most of these most of the switchers I've used allow you to put a delay on that audio so that when the program comes out, when it's recorded, when it's live streamed, the video and the audio are coming out together, even though they're coming into this from 2 different directions. So that allows you to change that, and you can see that that's set up in 10 millisecond periods of time, and it will allow it to delay it or and then allow the video to catch up. So you can do that on either one of the auxes. If audio is coming through with the video, it's going to be with the video. In this particular case, because they're coming in through the mic inputs, they are not connected until they get back together here. So that's why they're there. So let's back up again. 3.5 inch or 3.5 millimeter TRS inputs, you can go line in or microphone in. Now, even though this small microphone I'm using has a small receiver, it's still considered a line in input because it is a powered input. Let me show you what that sounds like if I change this over to mic in, and you'll catch it real fast that there is a problem here. If I go with mic in, boom, it really blows you out. Turn that back off. So you can see what happens when line in is coming into a setup that is expecting mic in. There's a lot more power coming in, and it will blow out that microphone sound. That's basically for a unpowered microphone that allows you to go into it that way. We got microphone 1 gain, which is either one of those going to be gained, the TRS line gain and the mic 2 gain. So that allows you to do those. Then you have XLR inputs. You can see here the gains are different for the 3.5 versus the XLR. And also you can set these as balanced mono, unbalanced mono, or mute. And when you're muted, it's not muting the TRS in, it's muting just the XLR. So you can just turn those off if you want. You can also have gain for the XLR, gain on either one. And then the mono copy is basically if it's coming in mono on just one of the inputs from, for instance, the audio mixer, that mono is copied over to the other side so that when it's coming back out on both sides. Not in stereo, but the same sound coming out of both sides. So just basically listening to sound music more than anything else. All right, back up one more time. We can come down here to the equalizer. Now this is pretty cool that it has an equalizer built in. It has a default, which is all zeros, as you can see, but I can go in here and set this up for meetings, for instance, and you can probably hear the difference in my voice as it's coming through the equalizer. There is a pretty significant difference there when they do that, and that's kind of cool. I may be using this particular more for doing these videos than I have in the past once I started preparing for this particular presentation. Movie mode, if you got movies coming in, if you're doing a lot of gaming, it has a gaming mode, and then the custom mode is set up for you to do it however you want. You can apply that equalizer also to the HDMI inputs down there at the bottom. So I'm going to back out. And the last thing is what is it that you are monitoring with the monitor if you turn that on. Right now it's just set at master, but you can monitor any of the inputs. You could tell it to do that there or the way I showed you earlier. And that's the audio side of this video switcher. It's actually got some pretty nice stuff in it. It would be nice to have a bigger way of looking at exactly how it's all mixing together. That's not what this is for. Do that over there in the audio mixer and then import it into here, and then you have a little bit of fine tuning you can do here for your live stream or for your recording or whatever it is that you're putting together. And as always, if you like, please subscribe, like, share, and leave some comments. I've actually done some additional videos because of the comments that people have asked me about, and figured out some other things that have gone wrong because somebody noticed something I didn't notice. Otherwise, have yourself a great day and God bless.